Well, hey everybody, and welcome back to Bottomless Coffee with Jerome. Today, I'm really excited. We are going to have a great conversation with a close personal friend, Adrian Benjamin. Now, Adrian first worked for me on my first run for office, and then expatriated to France shortly thereafter. He lived there through the Paris COVID lockdowns and travel restrictions, and was there until very recently, like maybe last week or the week before. So we are catching up with him today during a visit home before his next big adventure, and I'm super thrilled. Welcome, Adrian.
Hi, Jerome. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding? I'm so thrilled. And Adrian brought flowers. Can you believe they're really lovely? Thank you so much.
Of course, of
Not
course.
just for me, also for the crew. Like, wow. All I brought them was coffee. So
I couldn't come empty-handed.
So this is my first time seeing you
Yeah.
since our podcast conversation that was conducted remotely while you were in Paris. But I think we got to bring everybody up to speed. Like, when did you leave the States and go to France?
I first arrived December of 2020. So it was like right when COVID hit the United States and we were understanding what it was, and then the lockdowns happened in the States, like no public gatherings.
Yeah.
And I remember that because I was in Paris for Christmas of 2020 and like the New Year of 2023.
Okay. So, and this is going to have to jog both of our memories because those couple of years are just always difficult for everybody. But did France go into lockdown before the States, or was it the other way around?
I think it was because I remember I had to have the medical mask on the plane.
Oh,
Um, there was a lot of distancing. Um, and Paris in particular, because it's so highly dense compared to the rest of the country, there were a lot of different rules about like you could have curfew and go out at certain times and couldn't. You couldn't be so far away from your home. They'd have police patrolling to ask if you were how many meters away. It was
really?
intense. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting because we had like lockdown, but not like that. Well, or did we? We did have to stay home.
Right.
But I don't think we had police on the street, especially here in Minneapolis during that time,
Yeah.
asking us questions about why we were out or what we were doing. Things were just closed.
Right.
Right.
Yes, I recall, yeah, speaking with friends and family back here, they're like, how is it for you? Are you doing all right? Because I originally went for study, and I was getting like my master's certification in cybersecurity and AI.
That's right. I'd forgotten about that.
And so I completely empathize with students during that time because of all the, oh my gosh, like my French brain. I thought télétravail, like
Oh, telework.
exactly.
Yes.
And like telestudy. And so it was really hard, and not just for students, but for teachers and the study itself. It was very difficult. So we were kind of in this like, we don't know what we're doing because we're still understanding COVID. How is it being transmitted? And I know France was able to get vaccinations before the States, but even so, it was a difficult rollout at first, and so everyone was trying to get it. It was a lot of chaos.
But I remember, even though France got the vaccines first, you stayed in lockdown longer than the United States.
Correct.
Because there were periods of time when we were texting back and forth, and you were like, "How am I going to get to the beach?"
Priority. But at least the government incentivized like yeah, like outdoorness, and they were like, go to the park, try to have some semblance of like, I don't know, um, normalcy and air and trying to keep people healthy.
Yeah.
So although it was called like confinement and it felt very much that way, especially because it's such a social culture,
Yeah.
like how you greet someone even if you don't know them is the double cheek
That's
kiss.
right.
That was really hard for people not to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like a completely different way of life.
So you got a little bit of Parisian experience before the lockdowns.
Yeah.
So maybe like a month,
Yeah.
2 months. Did you love those first couple of months in Paris?
It felt strange because I'm like, what am I living? Like Emily in Paris dreams.
Yeah.
I got to do all these touristy things, but like without the tourist lines because not many people were allowed to visit. And because of that, it was very easy to like make friends. Because like no one was there. So they were like
Yeah.
craving social interaction.
Yeah.
But then after all of that, people were able to get vaccinated and like life came back to some normalcy. I was like, wait, that wasn't the real Paris
Hmm.
because the social, everything was different. And then after the fact, I'm like, I feel like I'm being reintroduced and this is the real Paris. And then it like hit me in the face.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What hit you in the face exactly?
Well, um, just like, yeah, being out and about, social cues, a lot of cultural differences. Um,
Mm.
I just like, I felt like, and my friends who were like from Paris, the ones that, because I also made friends that weren't from Paris, obviously.
Oh,
They
sure.
were telling me like, yeah, now you'll get the real culture shock. Now you'll get the real
So this is the
experience.
culture shock.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so like, what is there a most shocking thing that you could describe, or is there a list of things that really caught you off guard? Because I can tell you some of the things from your Instagram that caught you off guard. The bureaucracy. We had a conversation where you were trying to navigate stuff going on, and I was like, well, "Honey, bureaucracy is a French word. There was
Say
always
it again.
paperwork.
Say it again for the people in the back.
So is nepotism."
Yeah, I just didn't know. I think I was just very like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed about it. Just like, who says no to Paris? Who says no?
Yeah,
So I was just like, let's go without really knowing much or looking into it. But yeah, the French bureaucracy is real. It's dense. It's ineffectual, and I don't feel like I'm speaking badly of
right.
France or Paris because my friends from there say the exact same thing. And when I was going through asking for their advice of how to navigate it, they said everyone goes through this. This is not just like you experiencing this. You're not like we all go through this. So it was very
Yeah.
nice to have people that already went through it to give me a little how-to guide. But oh gosh, girl, I had no clue.
Well, let me, now that I have you on television, I'm going to ask you a question I've never gotten to ask you before. Are you rich? Are you loaded? Money bags over
No,
there? Okay.
no.
Okay. Because a lot of times
And
you hear of expats who are like, oh,
yeah,
I'm going to retire abroad. I mean, but you had to get a job.
yes.
Okay.
I
Okay.
I had a couple. She was hustling. I mean, and what's awesome, because like the economy is different. So like I remember when I got my first offer, and I'm like, what? That's the wage?
Oh,
I literally Googled medium wage Paris because I'm like, what is the economy like here? And you know, the euro and the US dollar were different and things like this.
yeah.
But because France and a lot of countries in the EU have like healthcare like sewn in and all this, like the wage is lower than in the States and cost of living is lower, even though there was inflation and all this. Like it's I'd say a simpler way of life.
Did you take that job?
Yeah, so I actually started working for a fashion designer,
Oh, that's right.
an independent fashion designer, and it was like very Paris. I was just like playing in a garden, a public garden, and there was an event there, and I was like playing through racks of clothes, being Barbie, and the workers were allowing me to play Barbie and putting things on me, and we were just kikiing.
Yeah.
And I didn't know I was speaking with the fashion designer himself who did it, and I was explaining what I liked, what I didn't like, and I would have definitely withheld what I didn't like had I known. All to say, he's like, I love what you're discussing and everything. He goes, I don't know if you know Fashion Week is upon us, and I'm down a couple of people. It sounds like you really know what you're doing, or you're very efficient, and that's hard to find here. If you're available for the weekend, I'll hire you for the weekend, and we can go from there.
Yeah.
Who says no? Who says
Right.
no? So I did it, and he paid me so well. He didn't really speak French at all, and I was learning French.
Oh.
So he was like, "I'll need." It felt very like Devil's Wears Prada,
Yeah.
but like without the mean, without the big
That's
ego.
nice.
Yeah, he's lovely, and we're still in touch. But it was a whirlwind because it's like a lot of egos, a lot of like high-end models. I was like doing operations for the show, so making sure that models looked like the way they were supposed to in the photo before we tell them to go on the runway, all this stuff. So I had like the little microphone in the ear, all black. I felt like I was in a
That's
dream.
lovely.
It was. It was crazy. But,
But it didn't pay anything.
I mean, that and like chaos, hectic. I'm like, this is a young person's game. I'm turning 30. I don't know if I have this in me. Can I
Yeah.
do this for years? No, but it was a lovely experience. And then I got a job with like an international organization like the UN, but it's called the OECD.
Were you like applying for that job while you were still working? 'Cause
Yeah,
that would, that's like the American way,
and that's yeah. I very much moved like an American at times,
Okay.
because I'm like efficiency. Let's get this right because
Yes.
I think the French way is just very like lackadaisical, like they call it le jeu de vivre, like the joy of life.
Oh yeah.
Like you just roll with the flow. And I'm like, yes, but at the same time, Paris is a little different. Very New York vibes, very like get it going. Everyone wants something, everyone's trying to get to the next step.
Oh, interesting.
Um, and I'm like, there's only one Paris in the world, and it's like a capital of fashion, international relations, you name it.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to squander the opportunity. And because of my studies with cybersecurity and I applied for it was like happenstance, like the fashion job.
Yeah.
There was a position open for the assistant to the director of AI.
Oh.
And I did well and I got all the interviews and they offered me the role and it paid more and was more stable.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was working in government here before I went, so I just thought that was always the dream too. Because I was like collaborating with the UN, UNESCO, with the EU, with NATO,
Oh,
with
that's right.
the World Bank.
That's
I was
crazy.
like, yeah, I was like in those rooms where it happens. I was
Wow.
doing it, negotiating with ambassadors in French. Girl,
Well
I
done.
I know. I'm very proud of myself.
Good, rightly so,
Yeah.
because as I recall in our podcast conversation, I don't know if you had just gotten the job or if you were transferring within that organization, but
Yeah.
you were like, I don't know about this. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. And I was like, Adrian, you're incredible. You already have a success story. You've got this. And so I love that. I think you were DMing about maybe needing to speak with the president of India or something.
Yes, because for the
It was like day number 2 or something crazy like
the Prime Minister Modi,
there
we
you
had to work
go.
with his office to do like an international annual conference for AI
Yeah.
in New Delhi. You don't get opportunities like that here. Like no tea, no shade.
Yeah.
But like the chaos. I had no clue. I had no clue. Love the opportunity, but yeah, it's like a check did it, tick the box.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Mhm.
well done.
Thanks.
I'm glad it was successful. But it's, 40% of Americans never leave even their hometowns.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's a crazy high number.
Oh.
And so that you were able to leave and live and like
Yeah.
navigate a pandemic. And I think there were strikes still going on while you were there.
That's a good cultural difference in that something I wish, well, I was going to say I wish more Americans do. I guess it depends in the political spectrum. But in general, regardless where you identify politically, in France, they are very innate about protesting. There's like you can bring it up with anyone. It's a thing.
Right, because it wasn't just strikes. There were some serious protests with the jackets, the yellow jackets or whatever.
Exactly. It was intense because at the time, the President Macron, he in his campaign said that he would like to raise the age of retirement
Yeah.
because of the social security wasn't going
Yeah.
to last people are living longer. It's an international, I wouldn't say issue, but like I guess phenomena we're seeing that governments have to reckon with how do we pay for this.
Yeah.
And the people did not agree. And I must say, in comparison to many other countries, not only in the EU but the rest of the world, France is very fortunate to have a lower age in comparison.
Mhm.
And they know that. But like we're saying,
And they want to keep it that way.
that's it. The joie de vivre. It's like, let me enjoy my life. And with that, they protested. And what I understand is that the majority of elected officials voted against it. It went to assembly.
Oh.
And so the people were like, yes, I'm being representative in my government, and who I voted for said they're reflecting that.
Yeah.
The issue, though, I guess in the French Constitution, there's a statute that allows the president to override a popular vote.
Oop.
So, oops. So he did,
Yeah.
and he said, we're doing this anyway.
Yeah.
And that's what the majority of people in France were protesting, that constitutional statute.
Now, is he still a prime minister?
Yes, it's his
Okay.
final term.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I had to go through that. And in particular, like so many tourists know, like the Eiffel Tower are very like local parts, because Paris in itself is just a circle and it's quite small. I was living in a very well-known neighborhood called Nation,
Mhm.
because it's like right on the periphery of the border, and it's a major metro hub, and that's why I liked it. It's easy to get across town.
Yeah.
But I didn't know this until I moved there. It's like the spot where protests end. Like
Oh.
they have their parade, And so I learned very quickly from tear gas, from police dogs, the police themselves, and just protesters.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was I'd see it right out, like outside my window, burning vehicles, flipping them. It was, my mother would ask if I'm safe and like
Yeah.
check up on me. I was fine,
Like
but
mothers do.
I've never been in such a close proximity to such a protest. So that was a cultural difference.
Oh. Where were you in May of 2020 in Minneapolis?
I was at the city of Minneapolis, in fact.
Like you're not a stranger to it, but
Fair.
perhaps it was a bit more organized in Paris, though.
I would say this. I would say this. Yeah.
Well, let's turn to happy memories.
Yeah.
What is your favorite memory or couple of favorite memories from your time in Paris?
Yeah.
Or France in general?
Right. I really loved, well, one, the fashion. Like I was saying, I've just never had the opportunity to really explore it and to have like a professional opportunity
Yeah.
and then to go, I've just never realized there was so much more. And working for the fashion designer, I did. He invited me into the atelier, like where they do the sewing and everything. So I got to sit with the couturiers, the
Oh my
sewers,
gosh.
and they taught me some things. So I know how to fix up like
You're
little
kidding.
tailoring on a suit. Yeah, it's a big deal to be a couturier because you have to go to a specific like government school, and it's only in France they do this. Um,
Oh, fascinating.
it was fascinating. So I felt like I was living like history. It was like a museum. And then I made friends in the fashion houses.
Okay.
So I was invited to like just have champagne and hors d'oeuvres and be little Barbie and play dress up. I know. I know. So one of my best memories was in fact having my mother come visit for her birthday, and I got to bring her to Fashion Week shows and like bring her to the fashion houses.
That's
Got to
sweet.
play dress up, got to like buy some
She got to
nice
play
things.
dress up?
Yes, she was
Ah.
dying. She really loved it. It was so sweet.
So that's where you get it from then.
I would say. Yes. But then in the same vein, it just like really felt like I made it. And it's not like I was trying to do it, just like our souls took, as we would say.
Yeah.
And in the same regard, like professionally with the OECD, I felt that's when I felt very, I don't know, secure in that if I can do it there, I can do it anywhere. I
Yeah.
just felt very, I could get emotional. That I really didn't know if I could do it because I was like, we're just trying and we're gonna see what happens. And there is no failure to it because there's
Mm-hmm.
just we're doing something not many people I know here do. I really didn't have anyone to turn to ask for guidance or like a blueprint. I didn't have like institutional help like so many people do there. Um, so it really affirmed in me that I have the skills. I just need the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about the ability.
And you made that opportunity happen yourself.
I'd say there was some luck though. It was absolutely being at the right place in the right time, but being prepared for it.
Luck didn't put you in Paris.
Well, I mean, I didn't think about it till someone very special to me raised the question after working at the city of Minneapolis yeah, during that time, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
He said, well, Adrian, if you're looking to venture and learn new, because so many people at the time of COVID were thinking, let me learn a different language because we were working from home, studying from home.
Yeah.
You can really take the time to question, should I continue in this path or maybe there's something more for me I can do?
Hmm.
And it wasn't until I was posed that question did I realize there was something there. I really don't think we're able to do unless it's like shown to us or even posed.
Yep.
So having that, yeah, I really didn't even think about it. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because I've always just thought of myself here. But until that just like tiny little Pandora's box was opened,
Yeah.
did I say like, go?
The box is open.
It's
And you
forever
made
open.
it. Well, in the spirit of your love of fashion, I believe that you have a costume change coming up, the very first costume change in the history of Bottomless Coffee. So we will be right back with Adrian Benjamin in just a minute. You don't want to miss it. Name. Back everybody to Bottomless Coffee with Jerome. We are here with Adrian Benjamin, who's had a dramatic costume change.
Just a little.
You look fantastic.
Thanks.
Incredible.
You know, just a little moment.
And this is all from Paris?
Yeah, in fact.
I love it. Any from that designer that you like so much? Probably not the Burberry, I suppose.
No. No, yeah, nothing actually. I do have a couple of his items though, but
Well, tell us a little bit about what you got going on.
yeah, this is my like everything.
Okay.
It's like my wedding gown.
Okay.
It was a big investment, but
The bride wore black.
right, someone in Paris wearing black. It's from Saint Laurent, and I got it during the lockdown. Um, and her name's Catherine Deneuve. She's like the Meryl Streep of France.
Oh, okay.
Um, this was like her iconic piece that she wore for the fashion house. And as soon as I
Fantastic.
saw it, I said, I need this. I
Okay.
need this for me. But it was built for a woman, so they actually customized it. So it's a little broader in the shoulders, and how it closes.
Good for you.
I know,
Custom
so
piece.
it's forever mine.
Congratulations.
And I can wear it so often. It's just a rain jacket, so it's very
Oh,
easy.
okay. I mean, it doesn't look like something I would wear in the rain. I'm like, I'll buy something nice, and I'm like, okay, now you live in the closet forever. I will wear you once, and I'll be like worried the entire time.
I get it. Yeah, I love it. It's everything. And then I got this, of course, from Burberry. It has the iconic design.
Yeah.
But technically, this like skirt is a kilt or whatever because
Okay.
it's in French is jupe, which is both. And it was made in Scotland.
Oh well.
But
Okay.
yeah, regardless of gender, they were telling anyone can wear it. So I sat on the rack and I said, "Can I try?" And they said, "Of course."
Yeah.
And I was invited to a lot of fashion events for them, so I'd always wear this.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I love it. It's very nice.
Yes, I love that fashion has moved to a place where a previous guest has called it gender full design
Oh,
instead of
yes.
genderless design. It's like, oh, I don't care what you wear. Just wear something that makes you feel good. Wear something that makes you happy.
Yeah. Makes you feel and look good. That's all
Yes,
that matters.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I should look into more jupes.
I
Although I don't have the
agree.
legs that you have, so
Yes, you
I
do.
got some chicken legs. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a couple of the differences between, let's say, the Twin Cities Metro or Minnesota and Paris or France, because I think we're talking. You've got some policy experience.
Yeah.
You might not know about the discussions though that we've been having here and
No.
how they might relate to your time in France.
Okay.
So you've mentioned the train. You've mentioned taking the train a lot of your time in Paris. Did you ever have a car?
No, thankfully.
Okay. Well, and that's part of it. Because in the previous part of our conversation, you talked about the size of the paycheck, and that the paycheck is a little bit smaller in
Mhm.
general than what you're accustomed to. Because
Mhm.
you got to buy all of this, and this costs money. But you don't have to buy a car.
Correct. And I think that's because they know you don't have to pay for fuel. And during COVID, or post-COVID with inflation and everything, prices internationally of fuel are just outrageous.
Hmm.
So that was lovely. I love both like the metro, so the inner city train, but also the like high speed train, which you can take from Paris to like the south of France for
Oh,
3 hours and much more affordable than a plane or driving. Some people do, but faster and easier.
so for us, that would be like Metro Transit versus Amtrak.
Yes, that's a
Okay.
really good point. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
I think Amtrak here only runs a couple of times a day to certain places. Is that a different experience?
Yeah, it's all the time
Oh,
in
really?
France. Yeah, it's like it's innate. And I love the train station. It's
Oh, really?
very like it's these old architectural like marvels of buildings and you don't have to worry about security. You don't have to worry about your liquids being in how many ounces or
Oh,
milliliters.
sure.
You often, I realized, um, airports are just outside of the city center, so you have to take a taxi, Uber, Lyft, whatever ride share to get in, and that's often expensive,
Hmm.
and then traffic. So a lot of time with the high-speed trains, you're often in the center of the city, and so
Oh,
you don't have to
sure.
worry about the security, and then you don't have to worry about all that nonsense. You save time and money, and you can easily walk to your Airbnb, your hotel. It's my number one preference for mode of transportation. I did it a lot while in Europe, and I'm going to miss it.
Have you ever been to Union Depot in St. Paul?
Yes, I have.
Does that give you any kind of European vibe? Is that like on the right track?
It's on the right track.
Track.
Da,
We
da,
wasn't even on purpose.
da. I have. I used to live just there, in fact, and yeah, we need more of that. I
Okay.
think that
We don't have more of those.
no, I think there's like on the East Coast you can do like New York, DC, Boston, kinda.
Yeah.
But other than that, across the states, there really isn't any. There needs to be more infrastructure and bonding for
So
this.
when you literal bonding, right?
Yeah.
So when you took when you went to the beach, when you
Mm.
finally escaped Paris and made it to the beach by hook or by crook, I won't ask. You took a regional train.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I wanted to go to Duluth, like in a similar kind of excursion,
Hmm.
like I don't know if we have a high speed train that goes to Duluth, but it's like a popular kind of vacation spot.
Yeah.
So that
And
would
how long is the
be
drive between the metro area and Duluth?
about 2.5 hours.
Girl, it's like the same going from Paris to Marseille.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's, I think, 3 hours.
Oh,
Yeah. So in 3 hours, like basically the drive from the Twin Cities to Duluth, you're on the French Riviera immediately. It's
that's a good deal
beyond.
because those trains are really fast.
Yes.
That's right.
Very nice. But
Hmm.
also a little caveat is during strikes, it could have a lot of delays and you
Okay.
don't really know. But and you have to be very careful with high seasons of summer, of course. That's of
Hmm.
course when prices will be more increased. But if you just like taking an airplane, just like driving, you just need to know when to leave. It's like you just plan your travel. That's all you have to do.
I guess another caveat would be you mentioned security. And it's like you don't have to worry about security. I'm like, let's because they're like armed guards at the station. Like they do not play.
No.
When they're on time, they're on time.
Yeah.
I mean, although don't French trains have like a reputation
For not being on time.
compared to
German trains.
other other
Yeah.
countries?
Fair.
Doing better than America.
That part. So it's relativity. It's relativity. But in general, there definitely needs to be, and I don't know how it is here now because I've been gone for 3, 4 years. So I don't know the policy conversations by that. But
Yeah.
and with the metro, like I could not imagine having a vehicle in Paris. The
Mhm.
parking, the traffic,
Mhm.
French driver.
Because they don't know how to drive because
Done.
they don't
Yeah,
drive.
that's enough for me to just take the metro. And honestly, I would see on like TikTok and Instagram reels of waiting for more than 3 to 5 minutes, people being aggravated. Like I remember a lot of policy discussions here saying like I'd have to wait for it. It's
Yeah.
it's not like beck and call like having your own autonomous vehicle. But in my view, there are more drawbacks to having your own autonomous vehicle, especially here.
Hmm.
With winter, you have to winterize. You have to be careful of like hazardous conditions, other people's driving, fuel, breakdowns, traffic.
That's true.
I can go off. Bridges collapsing. Ooh, oh, oh,
Okay.
oh. With the metro, none of this. You and as you have like a pass, like in New York, you pay less than if you were to pay by like a ticket, like a tourist. So it's economic and it's fast. Yeah, you have your rush hour times like you would with driving. It's uh, what? Put me in these transportation committees.
I'm sure you were offered and you declined.
You're right. You're right.
But you were
But
able to
yeah.
do okay. So you were able to go on vacation.
Yeah, and live without a vehicle and you're just fine. You're way better
What about
for
your
it.
like daily tasks? What about how did you
Oh.
where did you do your grocery shopping?
Groceries, that's I'm also gonna miss this too. I don't know. I think it's different across Europe, but I think also like markets are just, and I know in the Twin Cities you have them too. It's just kind of routine though in
Mm,
Paris. Like I think in the Twin Cities it's like you have one Saturday, Sunday kind of vibe. It's not really during the week.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not like that in Paris. It's like you know where they are and people go to them very often. They're much cheaper. They call them the supermarket, the supermarché, which is
Okay.
basically like Cub Foods, but obviously not to the grand scale. Um, just the quality of the food is very different because the government is very stringent about regulation
Mm.
and not using pesticides, all
Oh,
all
that's
the
good.
things. Um, it's yeah, eating there is a different experience beyond.
While you were um, changing, our director Alex came in and said that the flowers you brought really reminded him of a European gift. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess in Europe you could just stop by a little flower market or maybe pick some up in the market or what have you. But I'm like, this is America. This was a special trip.
It was. And I love I get because I don't think this is particular to Paris, but I think Europe in general, highly dense cities where I honestly, not even a block away, I had a florist, and
Yeah.
they're so cheap. Like when my mother came to visit, I'd almost have flowers every day, and she was shocked. And she's like, "Isn't that expensive? Where are you going?" And I just pointed out the window, and I told her the price, and she was floored
Huh.
because that's not really. I get it's a different way of life, and
Yes.
that's why it's so common for me to like, oh, if I'm going to see a friend, I'm usually have flowers in hand.
And that's the heart of the debate that's kind of happening here in Minneapolis in particular. It's density.
Oh,
Like who gets to build what and how big and how many people can live there and how many parking spaces
that's big.
and the whole thing. It's the 2040 plan with a goal towards density
Intriguing.
that's been held up over environmental concerns. And there's a lot of back and forth about whether or not those environmental concerns are genuine or if it's just a lawsuit filed to obstruct a plan that would bring more density to places that don't want more density.
I see what you're saying.
But you had a good experience with density, it sounds like.
Yeah,
You
I
got the
feel.
flowers, you got the grocery store.
Yeah, that was just around the corner. It's just, and my mother loved it, the walkability. And I
Yeah.
don't think there are many walkable cities in the States, which I think with younger generations coming now, they see the allure, they see the understand economic. It just makes much more sense for humans.
Yeah.
We're meant for this type of interaction, not this like almost being taxed financially and emotionally to like go see a friend, go get flowers.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be this difficult or such a like an economic hardship. So I adored that way of living beyond.
Did you? So we talked about the trains, the big ones and small ones. Is there a streetcar system or a bus system in Paris?
They do have
It's
buses,
the bus system.
and I've taken the bus.
Okay.
I prefer the metro though, but it depends on your personal preference there because I have a lot of friends that say they don't like to be underground in Paris.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's a bit spooky because it's very old and you can be underground for a long time. It's like there are the catacombs and,
Yeah, that's true.
and like Halloween isn't a thing there. It's a very American thing. But I remember
Oh.
my French friends telling me like, "Oh, we should do something to celebrate
For you,
Halloween."
okay.
Yeah, for you, we'll dress up, but we don't do this. So I was the only one that dressed up in costume and things.
Wait, what did you dress up as? No, you don't have to.
We won't get into it. It's fine. It was a cultural reference, that's all.
Okay,
But
okay.
I was to say, there are like catacomb tours where you see skulls and
Yeah.
it's spooky. And I get people are claustrophobic, but it's like these things aren't really regulated as well as they should be because it's like there are so many signs you shouldn't be there. But it's kind of like a historical museum. It's I felt like I had to do it
Yeah.
because I'm a visitor. But also say some people prefer buses because then you're not underground for a long period of time. But buses aren't always on time because they have to deal with the traffic and crazy drivers.
Yeah.
So preference.
You've alluded to your friends in Paris
Yeah.
several times, and it sounds like you made friends readily over there. I'm not surprised. Like
That's sweet. Thanks.
but sometimes in Minnesota, we have a reputation of being difficult to make friends with. Like welcoming, stay, come on over, but we're busy. Like my circle is small and warm and closed. Did you have any kind of experience like that in Paris?
Yeah, I think that was another culture shock of I realized most of my friends were not from Paris or France, and I must say I understand there's a big difference between Paris and France. It's like the New York City versus the rest of the country.
Okay.
So a lot of people move to Paris from France because that's where jobs are, that's where it's bustling. But I definitely had like a divide, and I didn't realize it until I don't know, was just spending time with them and putting things together and realized, oh, I should join them. But like I finally got to a place with my French where I felt accustomed to like really dive and be witty, have jokes and like be quick. But
Yeah.
it takes time. It really does. There were lots of times where I would just sit there really uncomfortable because I wasn't quick enough and I didn't know what was being said. And by the time I realized what to say, they
You're
moved
late on a
on.
joke.
And I'm like, it's really difficult. But I think that's what makes it difficult for Americans in particular, of like even if one learning a different language and then two like being near fluent and like living in it is a whole nother level.
So what level of French did you speak when you moved to France? Okay, you moved to France without speaking French.
Yeah, basically,
Okay.
which was also,
So how did you learn?
um, well, it was during COVID, so I wasn't getting a lot of interaction at first. So I thought, let me get a personal tutor because I had zero.
Okay.
Bonjour, oui, oui, baguette. But I'm like,
Merci.
this isn't gonna get me far.
A job, right?
Right, anything. And so I was honestly on Instagram just scrolling, seeing like the influencer kind of people, and I came across someone, and he was just so personable. Didn't really have a big following, but I could just tell because he was both French and American
Mm,
that he had like cultural competency, emotional quotient was high. He just seemed lovely. So I said, let me reach out and just see where it
mm.
goes. He responded, but had like
Oh,
tens of thousands of followers. So I didn't expect him to respond. And he saw I was living in Paris and said, yeah, I would love to teach you. He was living in New York at the time.
okay.
Said, there's the time difference, but I'd love to make it work for you. This is what we can do. He had all these packages. I
Oh,
did the
that's
like
nice.
6 month. And he said, by the time we're done, you'll have like A level. So the way it's like A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. And that's like, you got it.
Yeah.
But B is really like intermediate. That's what you need for citizenship. So I'd say that's fine. If you want to be eloquent and everything, that's C. So I'd say
Okay.
my English is definitely C. But when I was done with his 6 month program, I was definitely in A. And he
Mm.
goes, now I think what you need to do is group courses.
Huh.
And I never thought of it that way. And he goes, it's very social, interactive, people speaking at multiple times, overlapping. He goes, that's how people talk. You don't say your little monologue and some,
Yeah, yeah.
especially in French. It's very, in Paris too, it's very quick. And so he put me on to the Ville de Paris, the
Life of Paris.
the ville.
Oh.
Désolé. The city of Paris, like the city of Minneapolis, the municipality government, they have
Oh.
like courses for migrants. So you're with other people from all over the world, so you get different accents, and it's really easy to
Oh,
make
that's
friends that
nice.
way. So some of my closest friends were from my French course from the Ville de Paris, and we just like, I don't know, we graduated each course or each level together,
Yeah.
and I got to B2, B2. So
Well done.
thank you,
Yes.
merci. Yeah, I feel the same.
That was a great hair flip. I should put up a photo of you with your long hair that you used to have.
I'm dead.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So moved to Paris. You learn French during lockdown. You make friends with French classes. You
Mhm.
live in your life. Um, but we speak to a gay audience on this show
Oh, fair.
very frequently. Were there any experiences that you feel were unique because of your queer identity?
Yeah. I would say something I didn't realize, or and I didn't even think about it. Like I was saying, I said, "Let's just go."
Yeah.
Um,
Fats. And you did.
was that
What?
aspect?
Like it's hard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it until I arrived, and I thought, "Oh, what's it like to be queer here?" And I just, I guess, stereotypes, and I thought, just an assumption I shouldn't have made is like, oh, Paris is gay because fashion, because yada yada.
Yeah.
That is not the case.
Yeah.
In fact, the Paris is like a circle, like we were saying, and cute. It's like a snail shell, how it goes. Like they're called arrondissements, the neighborhoods. It's like which arrondissement do you live in? And so it goes like one, two, all the way around
Cute.
to like 20. And every arrondissement has a different vibe, has a different like historical context, has a different um I don't know, like type of person that lives there, or
Yeah.
community. And I learned that La Marais was like the gay neighborhood. And historically, I didn't know. I literally someone had I just thought it was a name. So I kept saying it, and someone had to tell me it actually means the swamp, Le Marais,
Oh no.
because it was built on a swamp historically,
Of
and that's
course.
where they put the marginalized communities.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it has the historical context of like gay. And I didn't know that. And it makes so much sense why they stay there. And that's why it's the cool, hip place to be.
Of course it is now, right?
And people are being priced out of it now. But I learned the marais is like a concept and it moves around historically.
Oh, fascinating.
Right? I had no clue. But right now it's quite central in the center of the circle that is Paris.
Yeah.
So that's where a lot of gay bars and uh, like drag, but like drag queen, drag king, um, you name it. There's just like a very thriving LGBTQ plus community there. So I would go with, yeah, gay friends there all the time.
Now, this may or may not have been beyond your experience there, but I will tell you, I recently had a podcast episode with a friend in Atlanta. I flew to Atlanta, rented a hotel room, we had a conversation, and the topic of his conversation was preserving queer spaces. And it was fascinating for me to think through. I was like, well, why are all the gay spaces like these bars on the wrong side of town or whatever? It was like, well, because that's where we were able to get a license for our businesses and the like.
Forced to go.
Forced to go. And so when it's time to talk about preserving our gay spaces, it's like, well, is a bar really historic? You know what I mean? Like,
They're very like grungy, where you're forced to be where no one else was
yeah,
forced.
but it is. It is.
It has
For
character.
those reasons.
Yeah.
Like this is where our history happened. And so I wouldn't expect you to know
Yeah.
Parisian gay history.
Yeah.
We'll bring in another expert for that. But that was fascinating.
It is. And so, yeah, it's very lovely. But at the same time, like going to Fashion Week like this, coming out of my little neighborhood Nation, it's not known for, it's known for really nothing besides being like a major metro port, so easy to move out of and go somewhere else in the city. So a lot of older crowds who are a little more nose in the air, a little more stuffy, more white. And the gawks I would literally get just walking in the street like this. Whereas if I go to like more central in the more gay community area, I people it's just fine.
They're like, that's last year.
If only. So yeah, different neighborhoods, different vibes, different communities. It was very intriguing learning like the segregation there, racial context very different there. Um, yeah, being in like a community of color, a gay community of color in particular, I didn't realize all the differences until I was literally thrown in it.
I love though that you were able to be there long enough to like really like understand the space that you were in.
Somewhat. Yeah, I'd say I have like an understanding. Yeah.
Well, that's fabulous.
Yeah.
Well, okay, we're gonna go to another coffee break. Is there another outfit?
No, I didn't want to overwhelm.
Okay, that's very considerate of you. Thank you. We will be right back with more Adrian Benjamin. Welcome back to Bottomless Coffee with Jerome. We are having just a really enriching, fulfilling conversation with Adrian Benjamin that is unfortunately getting down to the end, which makes me a little sad. I want to sit here and talk to you for hours, but you know, you took a big risk, changed your life, you've had a successful experience, but like looking back, what do you think you would have done differently to better prepare yourself? Because like we said, you were just like, I'm going to go to France. But for other people, because I think you're going to inspire people to leave their hometowns and do something different, you know, take a risk. Like, what should they do to prepare before they take those risks?
Yeah, and I must say thank you because it really feels like a homecoming where I'm being like congratulated and I can get emotional again.
There should be a sash or something.
No, not all this. But I must say it's like there were a lot of failures on the way. It wasn't all successes, obviously. There was a lot of trial error and yeah, a lot of slip ups, a lot of falling on my face. Literally. So
no.
yeah, it was intense at times. So I'm really happy with and even if I did like I guess I don't know what would failure even look like, I guess. I don't know. But had I had the opportunity, I would definitely look more into Paris in general.
Okay.
But also perhaps speak to someone that's there. But at the same time, I didn't have that yet. But if I magically did, I would absolutely. And I have a close friend who's leaving the States and going to Paris. And so I've already spoken with him a bunch about what he can look forward to, both positively and negatively, but also just in preparation. Because you can go on websites, you can go on blogs, and that's helpful. But I guess not until you're actually in it do you know. And everyone's different. Like people face adversity very differently in their communication styles.
True.
So I think really understanding myself before going would have also helped.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, what do you, since I've got a minute, what do you know about yourself now that you didn't know about yourself before you left.
Yeah, well, in particular, with like finding an apartment or anything in bureaucracy, I didn't understand the patience that was needed. I think I was
Oh
quite
yeah, you were.
impatient. I think I
I
was
would not
impatient.
describe you as patient,
See?
but maybe you are now.
A little more so.
Okay, okay. Well, you've got
But
such energy, and
is
that
that
energy
it?
doesn't need to be
I don't
contained
know.
all the
But at the
time.
same time, yeah, speaking to very close friends who are like family at this point here, they told me, oh, we always saw this for you and anything, but I guess I didn't really see it for myself. It's kind of like I'm very grateful and appreciative of the people that have given me opportunity or saw something in me that I didn't at the time. And
Hmm.
it's not until I went through it did I realize I had it. So there was a lot of that in Paris too.
Good.
Um, well, it wasn't good at the time
Well,
because
it's good now.
it is good now.
Yes.
But any type of growth is hard. And I
Yes.
think that's why most people don't do it because it's very easy to stay comfortable in who you are. So I would give Adrian from 2020 that little tidbit saying, get ready for the ride of your life
There you
and
go.
grow.
Good for you. Here, here.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, you've got another adventure coming up that I don't know all the details about. And this is a secret. I tend to not ask questions I don't know the answer to.
Fair.
So we will shelve that for the next time. But would you be willing to come back on again to tell us about your next adventure?
Of course, always.
I'm excited to see what you're wearing.
Too.
Well, Adrian Benjamin, if anyone wants to get in contact with you, what's the best way?
OMG. Instagram? Oh, I feel like such an influencer.
You could be. What's your Instagram?
Oh wow, I'm embarrassed. It's French. Um, it's Le Petit Prince, the little prince, de Genovia, and it's a little nod to a very early 2000s movie that stars Julie Andrews and Anne Hathaway,
Yeah.
Princess Diaries.
Yeah.
So as they are the queen and princess of Genovia, I like to call myself the little prince of Genovia.
Oh, that's wonderful. You're certainly the prince of bottomless coffee.
Thanks.
Thank you, Adrian. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. This has been Bottomless Coffee with Jerome. You can stream all of our episodes at bottomlesscoffeeshow.com. And I'll see you next time.